Want to say a quick thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members and supporters. If you would like to support the future creation of content on this channel, get some few extra perks and some art sent to your door every month, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. Details and links are in the video description. Final Fantasy VII Remake took its share of liberties with the original story, we all know that. Some of them praised, some of them not so much, but I think one of the things we can universally agree on is that the choice to include more story, put more meat on the bone for Avalanche and the characters of Avalanche, not just Biggs, Jessie, and Wedge, but also for the organization itself. I think moving forward this is going to be a great idea. Let's dive into why real quick. For one, it adds more to the story. As I've talked about several times here on the channel, the key to making this thing a success and making it bigger than what it originally was is going to be to flesh out the world and flesh out the story of the world in a much grander scale. To show the grand scope of the world of Gaia and everything going on there. You don't have to make it too overly complex, but you can give gamers the option to dive into other aspects of the world. They don't need to be necessary for the storyline, but they can yield you rewards that will enhance your experience as you play through the story. One of the avenues they can use to do that will be Avalanche, and whatever they do with the Avalanche story. You have that night excursion mission, and then Avalanche comes in and saves your butts at the Shinra HQ, or the Shinra weapons facility. I think that was magnificent. You didn't see those troops or anything the rest of the game, but you did get a taste of what they were about. Now let's look at Intergrade, or Intermission rather, more specifically. There's a cell of Avalanche working within Sector 7 that has nothing to do with the rogue group that Barrett Wallace currently runs. I think this was a brilliant touch to the story. It adds a lot of internal conflict with the organization of Avalanche. It gives you more characters to explore, and it gives you more real estate within the story to check out and to play around in. This is nothing but a good idea. So overall, including more Avalanche is great. It can lead to new materia, new weapons, side missions, certain missions, and go take out certain Shinra cells or even deep ground cells. I think that would be fantastic. We already have a built-in Deep Ground and Avalanche story tied together by Yuffie if they want to explore it from Intermission. Yuffie, of course, traveled with Sonnen. Sonnen killed by Nero, who was a part of Deep Ground, and it was kind of like an Avalanche mission. So having that connection there and having Avalanche, kind of a subgroup of Avalanche fighting the underground forces of Shinra that are part of Deep Ground, I think that's an interesting story dynamic they could explore. Also, if you want new weapons, new rewards, things like that I've talked in videos before, a great way to get weapon upgrades and new materia and stuff would be to fight these optional side quest battles where you take out a third or second class soldier. So guys like Roche, not Roche himself because, you know, that'll be a video for another time, but I think guys on that level that are in the soldier program, those could be marks that you take out that have platoons, that have little bases or hideouts here or there. You can liberate little villages in and around Gaia. I think that would be really cool, and you could yield rewards like weapons, upgrades, materia, vast amounts of money, you know, basic, you know, dungeon crawling kind of stuff, but you get my point there. And Avalanche, a job board from Avalanche, could be a way to explore that. Sky's the limit with Avalanche. Now let's get into the characters a little bit. I'm going to stick with Biggs, Jessie, and Wedge on this because I'll do a video another time exploring some of the other characters that we have seen so far, whether I think they will have a role moving forward or whether they'll just be background players or not even existent. So let's start with Wedge. Wedge I thought was very interesting because he was immediately, before we knew anything about Biggs or Jessie, he was immediately the indicator that there was going to be a deviation from the original story as it pertains to Avalanche. He survived the pillar attack. You know, his fall was broken. It was never really shown what happened to Wedge. There was no body in the original Final Fantasy VII. He fell. He's kind of making some groaning noises or whatever, and people were around him. But you never had a body. You never saw a body. Now, I am sure he died. I don't think it was ambiguous in any way. I think he died. I don't think there was any kind of mystery there. But in this one, he clearly survives, and he shows up at Shinra HQ to help the party out. Now, he defied fate once in that respect. And then, of course, the Whispers came in to clean up that little mishap. Now, I do believe when they throw him out of the Shinra building there, he dies. It fades to black. I think he dies. Now, is he around moving forward? I say no on Wedge. Only because Biggs clearly survived. We don't know what happened to Jessie. One of them has to for sure die. I think that'll be Wedge. I think Wedge is gone. I don't think he's coming back. That's where I stand on Wedge. It was really cool seeing the Shinra HQ part. That was the part where things started to come off the rails a little bit as far as like the original storyline. And you all know I'm here for it. I think the changes they're making to the story are interesting. I'm waiting to see how they execute it. I'm not, rendering judgment one way or the other at this point, but I'm waiting to see how they execute it. But right now, I'm interested and intrigued about the path the game is going to take. I'm more interested and intrigued in exploring more of Gaia, and less so about what's going on with the story. Though I am intrigued by what's going on with the story, I'm more intrigued about physically exploring more of Gaia through gameplay and interactions. Let's move on to Jessie. Jessie's an interesting one. I put her in the middle of this because I think there is potential both ways. I think there's potential if she is gone. I think there's potential if she is alive. Let me explore first if she's gone. If she's gone, I do believe that there is a character arc for Biggs built in there, because he felt like a responsibility for Wedge and Jessie, and now they're both dead. He was very pragmatic. He was very safety first. He was all about planning and executing the operation to a T. I love that they put that into his character in the story. And Jessie was playful and fun, but she was also very driven. She was also very maniacal in ways, as far as like how she pursued her target, how she wanted to build that bomb. She was maniacal in her thinking, and when I say maniacal, I mean she was very, very over the top with wanting to make sure it's done right. They invaded that Shinra facility late just so she could get the compound to make the bomb, and she was overthinking and highly critical of herself and how powerful the bomb was that went off in the beginning of the game. Jessie, I find interesting because I feel like she's dead, but if she's not, they planted enough seeds there for you to believe that maybe if something has happened with some kind of divide in destiny and fate and reworking the timeline or whatever, if you're in that camp, then there is a chance that she is at Gold Saucer, fulfilling her dream, star of the play, all that kind of stuff. I feel like there is a version of this where when you go and do the play, the date at Gold Saucer, that Jessie is the princess. I really feel like there's a shot at that happening. Now, if you fall on the side that I feel like, that's butterfly effect or something like that, that's reworking the timeline, same rule applies. It can still be a situation where Jessie's at Gold Saucer, and now how she gets there, I don't know. That would mean that she probably was never a part of Avalanche. A lot would have changed, so I'm not really sure how that works in my head just yet. But there is a version of this where Jessie's alive, but I feel like she's dead. Let's get into Biggs. Biggs survived. We saw at the end of Remake that he has survived. He is there, he is present, he's recovering at the orphanage. And it's very interesting because what will he do? What will be his path moving forward? Will he still be with Avalanche? Will he move to a more passive approach to life? Will he go back to being a teacher at the orphanage? that there are so many open-ended questions here, but what I think they're going to do, I think he will have something to do with Avalanche. They've established that Avalanche is in Midgar. More than one cell, because you got Barrett's cell and you got the cell from Intermission. So there's probably more throughout the different sectors of Midgar. I do believe that Biggs will have something to do with one of those cells of Avalanche. Don't know just what just yet, but he is going to have something to do with it. I think he'll be more than just a quest giver. I think he will have something to do with the more, and I say Earthbound kind of storyline, more grounded storyline, like with the Shinra and all that kind of stuff. He won't have much say in the outcome of the final battle of Sephiroth and stuff, but as far as dealing with Shinra, I could see Biggs having a big role in that, because he is about the planet. You know, he is about the future, the kids, that kind of thing. He's going to want to see Shinra get taken down. I think he will have a big part of that. I think that's where his story ends, though. I do believe Biggs will die. I believe Biggs will die a hero's death. I believe it will have something to do with taking down Heidegger, or maybe even Rufus Shinra. It'll be something to do with Shinra, but I do believe Biggs will die. I believe he'll have like a hero's death. I think by the end of the game, the death count will be correct, if that makes any sense. So that's my thoughts on Avalanche, their inclusion so far. I think what they're doing is intriguing. It's keeping people guessing, and I'm excited about it. But let me know what you all think in the comments below. Do you think all three are alive? Do you think all three are probably dead and it's just a dream, or some kind of like Super Mario Bros. 2 ending where we wake up and it's all just a dream or something? It could be anything at this point. We're all right and we're all wrong at this point, because nothing is known. But leave your comments below, throw a like on the video, share it around, let me know what you all think. Consider becoming a YouTube or Patreon member to help me create more videos like this. And until next time, you all have a great night, be safe, be good to each other, and keep rocking. I will see you all next time.